Hey gang, AV here, and welcome to my review of the River Stix Guardian, the Hades Protectors. Here he is in the package. As you can see, it's a carded figure. He has got excellent artwork there on the card, original artwork. I am a big fan of the artwork on the cards themselves. It's an adult collectible. There's his name and occupation right there, if I can get the glare off the card. In case you're wondering what HACS stands for, it stands for Highly Articulated Character Kit System. There's the figure with the majority of his accessories visible in the bubble. A lot of them are hidden in the bag there. I have not actually opened this figure yet, so I'm willing to bet he just has an extra sword and a couple hands and stuff. We'll see. Let's flip him over to the back of the card. Now, I am actually a little out of practice here because I just changed my whole review station around, so please forgive me while I get a little bit better prepared. I forgot to grab my G.I. Joe file card, which I always use to compare the River Stix, or the boss fight file cards too. So, give me a second. I'm unprepared for class. Alright, here we go. So, as you can see, figure's got a file card. It's roughly about the same size as a traditional G.I. Joe file card. And if you would like to read it, you may pause the video and do so now. Said it before and I'll say it again. I'm a huge fan of the fact that they include those. It really helps to give the characters more depth and really make it feel like you're actually building a universe instead of just a collection of action figures. Here are several other figures available in the Series 1 wave of the Vitruvian HACS. This is, I think, the first Series 1 figure I've reviewed, actually, so... it shows waves 4, 5, 6, and 7. I will be honest, I was very picky when it came to this particular series of figures. I basically bought the ones that I wanted and left the ones that I didn't, unlike the Fantasy Wave where I got just about everything. So you may or may not see reviews of some of these characters. I know I have the Cursed Skeleton and Penthesilea, I believe is her name is. I do have her. So just keep your eyes open. You may see some, you may not. I'll do the best I can to accommodate you guys. There is a QR code on the back there, which will take you directly to the boss fight shop, where this figure and several others may still be available. And without further ado, let's get them out of the packaging and have a look at the figure itself. This is collector-friendly packaging, which means all you have to do is lift up on these plastic flaps here, bend it out of the way slightly, just enough to get the card up and over. And then you can slide the card out to gain access to the figure and its tray. Try not to scratch the card as I do that. Him out of the bubble, put this off to the side, and have a look at the figure and its contents. So right off the bat, we're going to go to the bag first. Okay, and in the bag it looks like he's got a few things. This one's really easy to open. Usually they're closed pretty tight and usually rip as soon as you get them out. But anyway, that was pretty smooth. Here is the Boss Fight Studio figure stand. I always applaud companies that give you a figure stand. It's just a good thing to have, especially when you display your stuff. This works fine. It's got 2 foot pegs, and it is in the shape of the Boss Fight Studio logo. Put that off to the side. He has a sword sheath and a belt, which is attached. This can actually swivel around. This goes over his shoulder, and This sword, even though it flares out, this does actually fit in here if you force it. The other sword he has would fit in here a little bit better. That one is actually still in his tray here. This fits in there a little bit more smoothly. Yeah. Ooh, that's tight. Let me get that out of there. There we go. Had to go off camera for that. Apologize. He has this sword as well. And he has 2 additional fists. Now, I'll go over these a little bit more when I actually took a look at the figure. He has a shield, which has a handle and a wrist guard here that you can slip his hand through, hold the handle. It's a little easier said than done sometimes, but it is possible. And on his shield, you have the depiction of Cerberus, which was the 3-headed dog who guarded the gates of Hades. And this is the Hades guardian, River Styx guardian, which leads you to Hades. So, makes sense that he's on here. And he's a fire-breathing 3-headed dog. And since I'm probably going to use this in my thumbnail, I may as well address it right now. This is a Schlitz version of Cerberus I got. It's unarticulated. It's just a solid piece of plastic. I built the leash out of jewelry chain, and I got both the jewelry chain and the figure from AC Moore. You can probably find them at Michael's as well. So that'll get that out of the way, because I'm sure I'm gonna get questions about this after looking at the thumbnail and clicking on the video, because I'm more than likely gonna pose him with the figure after I'm done here. So anyhow, he also comes with a helmet, which is up here, top of his tray. Not too bad. I wasn't a very big fan of this particular style of helmet with the 2 things on either side and the sideways flaring fur or hair, I guess you would say. I much preferred it when it went down the center. Anyway, that's all of his accessories. Let's get the figure out. Again, I apologize at the beginning of the video. I'm like a fish out of water today, because my review station's in a different spot, and I'm still getting situated. And this is the first review I've done in a little while, even though it may be a day or 2 on YouTube. I actually filmed them in advance, so a little out of order, a little out of practice here, I guess I'm trying to say. So here is the figure out of the packaging. He stands up pretty decently on his own, as you can see. He's got very nice detail. I mean, even though he's just like a flat blue, he's kind of like the Dr. Manhattan of the boss fight line. He's still got some nice painted detail there in the eyes. I like his armor. Has a nice choice of colors, especially for being a guardian of the River Styx. And he's got his leg armor, his shin guards as well. Painted sandals, which is a lot easier said than done if you've tried to customize. Cool figure. Looks pretty decent. Helmet. Fits on him pretty snug. Swords all fit good in his hand. Matter of fact, his hands are a little tight. There we go. Fit very snug in there. And he also has extra sword storage on the back there, which you can slide the swords through. Very cool. let's go on his articulation. His head is on a barbell joint, which not only allows him to rock back and forth, do a full 360, look down a decent amount, and up about that far, but he can also kind of wiggle his head from front to back a little bit too. His arm sockets are on a ball joint for the most part, so they can do a full 360. They also come up about that far. There's nothing at the bicep. His elbows can do about 90 degrees up and about that far down. He can do a full 360 at the elbow. His wrists do a full 360 because they're on a peg. This particular set bend up and down right out of the package. Or you can swap it out for his extra hands, which will bend in and out. Said it before and I'll say it again. I am a big fan of the fact that they include an extra set of hands with that extra type of articulation. That way, depending on the way you choose to pose him or what weapons he has in his hands, he looks natural holding it, which is a big plus in my book. Now, he does have a ball joint ab, which allows for a great range of motion on these particular figures. But as you're going to hear me say over and over again with these ancient Greek figures especially, that is greatly hindered by his armor. Like, you could force it, but you're going to pop the armor off. And getting it back on is a little easier said than done sometimes. It actually takes a little bit of work to get these repegged. So take my word for it. The ab crunch is there. He also has a waist swivel. It's also there, but it's not going to be very forgiving. Or very easy to do with his armor on. Now, he can get his legs apart about that far with the armor. He can go farther if you utilize the slits in the sides of the armor, but that looks a little silly. So he can go about that far without disturbing the armor, really. Legs can go up, again, about that far without disturbing the armor, but a lot farther if you don't mind messing the aesthetic up. His knees are double jointed, allowing you to get his heel back a decent amount. His ankles are on a swivel peg, so you can swivel 360 degrees. They also have a hinge, allowing you to bend them back about that far and forward about that far. So he has got a great range of motion on his ankles. So his articulation is somewhat hindered in the main torso there, but for the most part, you can still get some decent poses out of the guy. You just have to be a little bit more creative and don't expect superhero poses with these Spartan characters. So let's see. Let's do a size comparison now. Here he is next to a modern G.I. Joe, 4-inch G.I. Joe. As you can see, he is just about the same size as a 4-inch figure. And here he is next to a vintage G.I. Joe. As you can see, he's noticeably taller. So he definitely fits in better with your modern 4-inch figures than your vintage 3 3/4-inch figures. All in all, I really like the figure. I think he looks great, especially for a guardian of the Netherworld, which is where Hades is, in case you didn't know. I'm pretty impressed by him. I like the fact that I have him. And I do recommend that you pick him up if you're interested. I don't think you'll be disappointed. So anyway, this has been AV. If you like this video, check out my channel. If you like what you see there, then please subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.